your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at preserveservices.com.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
Now a steal on the inbound, McConnell! Basket good! Indiana's tied it at 95. Matherin gonna pull for three and hit from the right side. Benedict Matherin with 25 off the bench. 98-96 Pacers, 7:50 left. The Pacers hang on. They beat Oklahoma City 116-107 and have grabbed a 2-games-to-1 lead in the NBA Finals against the best team in the NBA all season long.
Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. What's going on? 2 days in a row? What?
What is this?
Adam Gold, Victoria's here. Panthers are in their 3rd day of mandatory minicamp. We'll talk to Darin Gantt later. A little bit more than an hour from now. We'll ask the old guy. I've heard that Bryce Young has become a bit of a trash talker.
Oh, look. I know. I did see that on the Twitters yesterday.
Bit
Was
of
it
a trash
JC
talker.
Horn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't
I know.
care.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it says to me, if anything, that we've got maybe a more confident quarterback.
Yeah. He's getting comfortable.
I am fired up for his next step. I said this yesterday. Remember, well, it's not really 2 years ago, but his first season, how much of a disaster it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody had quarterback envy down in Houston. Oh, man, how did they mess that up? Blah, blah, blah. I said then, chill out.
Mm-hmm.
What did you expect? Poor coaching, no offensive line, and no targets. Were you expecting anything other than, man, that's going to look bad?
Right.
And it looked probably worse than we all had hoped. Not probably. I think it looked worse than we all had hoped. And then, of course, the first 2 games of last year, which were disastrous. But I don't think he was given a ton of help in those first 2 games. And I'm not entirely sure that the new coaching staff really thought that he was the guy. I hold absolutely no grudges about that. And I think it took time for this coaching staff to realize that, oh, wait, maybe he is the guy. And over the last few weeks of the regular season, as he got better and better and better, and then we saw the real good stuff the last few weeks, I think they went, oh, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason he was the first pick in the draft. And I look forward to what's coming next.
Yeah.
And it, from all accounts, and we'll talk to Darin Gantt about this, from all accounts, the wide receiver group has been impressive, even though Tet McMillan is not practicing for the 2nd straight day. Got a little bit of a boo-boo.
Hopefully it's a little boo-boo.
Nobody needs, honestly, to be practicing now anyway.
Mm-mm.
We are 3 months away from the season. What is it? It's June, July. I'm doing this on my fingers. July, August. Yeah, basically 3 months away from the season.
Yeah.
So we don't need anybody to be practicing right now.
No, not at all.
We're still a month away, a little bit more than a month away from training camp beginning. But it is cool to see the excitement. It's cool to see the promise. The quarterback appears to be pretty good, seems to be a good leader. All of the things we saw at Alabama, which allowed Bryce Young to flourish there, I think are allowing him to flourish down in Charlotte right now. So that's
all good things.
Especially if you are a Panthers fan.
Yes.
And I know among the two of us,
yes,
you are.
That's me.
Isn't it cool to feel at least hopeful? Mm-hmm. And it's not pie in the sky hope.
No, it's just a light, refreshing air.
It's like a fresca.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but as we said the other day, it's a winnable division.
Very.
It's not going to take a ton to win the NFC South.
Yeah, I'm sure the Bucks will still be their obstacle.
The
Falcons did do a lot.
Bucks and the Falcons should be the two main contenders.
Saints, you don't have to.
No, I think the Saints are going to be bad.
Yeah, they're going to be bad.
Right, but the Bucks and the Falcons should be the main contenders. I think 10 wins the division.
Mm-hmm.
And while 10 might be a little bit rich for Carolina, I don't think they'll be far from it.
Yeah. I feel like double digits is a confident,
if you're
division winning team.
Yeah, I think if you win 10 games,
you're good.
You'll win the division.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess it's possible you could have multiple teams with 10 wins, but I do think 10 wins will win the division. And that is attainable. Again, even if it's kind of on the high side of where I think Carolina is likely to be, but confidence does wild things. All right, are we ready to play? All right, let's get to NBA Finals yesterday. So, remember the Oklahoma City Thunder, which we all agreed. I shouldn't say we all agreed because it wasn't like it was an open discussion. I thought it was pretty obvious going after 2 games of the finals, which Indiana won game 1, but Oklahoma City came back and comfortably won game 2, that I think it was a safe assumption that the Thunder were the better team, but it wasn't like Indiana couldn't win. Well, last night, Indiana was the better team. And if you're the Thunder, you're looking around going, all right, we had the best record in the sport. Where's that? It does tell you that the regular season is different from the postseason, because that is just true. And maybe the fact that Indiana's got just a little bit more playoff experience, whether it's this group or, remember, Pascal Siakam, who has won an NBA title before.
Yeah.
And then you just throw in the fact that, all respect to Mark Daigneault, the head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Rick Carlisle's a legit good basketball coach who's been to this level. I mean, he was a good player. Wasn't a star player, but he was a good player. So he gets the whole thing. And I think Carlisle's done a masterful job with this team. Last night, Benedict Mathurin came off the bench and scored 27 points in the win. And I'm trying to think of the list of players, but he's like the 7th player all time to have off the bench. I think was it off the bench or score 27 or more points in an NBA Finals game at age 22 or younger. So he's on the list with Kobe and Magic and Kawhi Leonard and players of that ilk. Like every player on that list is of that ilk. Like going to the Hall of Fame ilk. I am not putting Benedict Mathurin in the Hall of Fame, but I'm just saying that not a lot of guys have done that. Weird thing about Mathurin is that some days it ain't there, not just because he's not scoring, because some days he barely plays. I mean, he played, I don't know, about half the game coming off the bench yesterday. The bench was the number one factor in deciding this game. A lot of that is his own 27 points, but it was a 30-some, I think about a 30-point gap off the bench for Indiana over Oklahoma City. But, man, sometimes he just doesn't play. Now, if you got a guy who can score 27 off the Pines, you would think he would get 10 to 15 minutes of burn every night.
You would think.
Doesn't happen.
Wow.
That is the weirdest thing
Poor choice.
about this team. All right. I mentioned Pascal Siakam. I mentioned Benedict Mathurin. Siakam on Mathurin.
No, I mean, I think he was great, just being aggressive. Like, that's who we want him to be. And when he's aggressive, he's active on defense, he's picking up full court, he's cutting. Like, when he's doing that, like, I mean, it looks easy out there for him. So we just want him to keep that same mindset and energy every single day. And I know that, again, his minutes might be here and there, and he just keeps going, and that's what we're going to need from him.
All right, so that's Pascal Siakam. Tyrese Halliburton, who had a very good game and hit many big shots in the fourth quarter. Halliburton on his teammate.
Yeah, I thought he just did a great job of just playing within what we do so well. What Ben does at such a high level is get to the free throw line. And in this series, we need to get free throws. We need to get to the paint. And I thought Ben did a great job of that. Our bigs were great, Miles and Obi and Pascal, of setting solid screens to allow us to really get in the pocket and make reads. And I thought he was unbelievable and just so proud of the way that he responded. Huge minutes for us. And it's a guy that we missed heavily last year in our run. And we can consistently talked about it, all year, how important it's going to be, for him to be a part of this playoff run, and you're seeing why that is. So he was a huge reason, for our victory tonight.
Yeah, I mean, gives him size. It looks like he's a rugged player. I remember watching that entire Pacers-Knicks series, and I don't really I know he had some big scoring outputs, but he also had a 0, a 1, a 4. I mean, it's just awesome that you could be that ineffective and then all of a sudden be that effective. But Rick Carlisle talks about the fact that this team really, everybody is going to be called on. All right, Mark Daigneault is the Thunder's head coach. He talked about the bench, and he talked about the guy off the bench that did the most damage.
He's had games like this in previous series. He seems to have a game like this in every series, and talented player. He was really aggressive tonight. He did a great job. McConnell did a great job. Their bench really came in the game and was excellent. I thought that had a lot to do with the second quarter. The start they got off to, I think, was like 15-4, and then the start of the fourth quarter as well. And I thought those guys were catalysts to that. So you tip your hat to them. Those guys played really well. They outplayed us. The team outplayed us tonight. We got to learn from it and then, try to go be a better team in Game 4.
All right, now let's get to, by the way, Game 4 is, I don't know when it's coming up. Is it it's either tomorrow or it's
probably the next day because they
Saturday.
like to take the
either tomorrow or Saturday. I don't
these
even
long
care.
breaks.
We can't have, I don't want 2 days off between.
Tomorrow.
It is tomorrow
at 8:30.
I do think we're back to every other day now.
Oh, okay.
I think both sports are going back to every other day now.
Yes, tomorrow, Monday, Thursday.
There you go. So it is not tomorrow. So it's tomorrow. nothing on the weekend, and then we got the NBA.
There you go.
All right, let's get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Game number 4 is tonight. Edmonton will have no change in goal. Stuart Skinner will start. In fact, there will be multiple Skinners playing for Edmonton. Our old friend Jeff Skinner is in the lineup for the Oilers tonight. Based on what we saw in game number 3, if I'm Edmonton, the most important thing not going into the game, I think they've got to play with the lead. And here's why. Let's bring it back to Carolina, Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals. When Florida got their nose in front, it allowed them to bring in all of the Florida shenanigans. All of the stuff that makes you go, they're just trying to play with you. They're just trying to draw you into their game. This is what they do. But when Florida doesn't have the lead, they don't play that way, which this is not a criticism. It is why when they have the lead that they're so good. They understand that they can get under your skin and drag you down into the gutter with them. But when they don't have the lead, they are less likely to do that because they understand the ramifications of it. That's called being smart.
Yep.
So if you're the Oilers, score first. Score first, and then you can play on your terms. Maybe it's a more skilled game on your terms. But if Florida gets in front, man, and Edmonton has done a poor job of avoiding those traps that Florida has set for. So you probably don't want to be shorthanded a dozen times like you were in Game 3.
Nope, not
but
at all.
Score the first goal, Edmonton. Get in front of the game, and then you dictate, not Florida. I do think if Edmonton can win this game, they can end this series in 6. There is something about this Oilers team that is resilient. Let's be perfectly honest about this. At the beginning of the playoffs, when they played in LA to start the series and lost games 1 and 2, they looked a little. They might not be here very long.
Yeah.
Then they went home, and it wasn't just being at home; it was how they won at home. LA, by all accounts, and I watched that series. By all accounts, LA should have won that series in 4 or 5. But Edmonton just didn't. They didn't give in. They came back to win. I forget which of the games. At least 3 of their 4 wins against the Kings were comeback wins, including a game where they were down. I think this might have been Game 4, down 3-1 late in the third period. Scored twice to tie it. Won it in overtime. Like, they should have been done.
Yeah, that was it.
But they have been incredibly resilient. And if they can get back to being that way, they have a very, very good chance to win this series. But they got to get in front of the game tonight. I just don't think they are, in any way, shape, or form, going to play from behind against Florida and have it work out in their favor. All right, to the U.S. Open. John Rahm hasn't teed off yet. I want to actually get when Rahm tees off. Rahm tees off at 1:14, so we're about an hour away. We'll start here, and then we'll go through the leaderboard. So most of you by now know that we have 2, we'll just say competing, even though they don't really compete, top-flight professional tours in golf. There is the PGA Tour, and then there is LIV, the LIV Golf League, whatever they're calling it. And LIV Golf is funded entirely by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, and which is, by the way, that fund is trying to also fund the PGA Tour. So they want in on golf. Right now, all they have their hooks in is LIV. So that circuit has much smaller fields. 54, that's what LIV means, right? 54 holes, actually 48 player fields. 54 holes, that's what LIV means. They have smaller fields. They play one less round of golf. There's a team element, which, whatever, ain't that big a deal, to be honest, if you ask me. But it has made some of the results from LIV Golf a little bit kind of confusing. Jon Rahm, who has not won a major since the Masters in 22, which frankly isn't that long ago. It was 22? 22 or 23. Jon Rahm has won twice on LIV. In 21 events in LIV, he has 20 top 10 finishes. That is Scotty Scheffler-esque.
It's a lot.
Except it's just easier, as Jon Rahm let the world know yesterday.
I'm a realist in this case. I've been playing really good golf, yes, but I'll be lying if I said that it wasn't easier to have top 10s with a smaller field. That's just the truth, right? Had I been playing full field events, would I have top 10 every single week? No. But I've been playing good enough to say that I would have most likely been inside the top 30 every single time, and maybe even top 25, which for 21 straight tournaments, I'll say that's pretty good. But I still would have had a lot of top 10s, that's for sure. It's hard to say, but there's definitely some weeks, I think, like last week, for example, having a weaker Sunday than everybody else, I don't think I would have top 10.
So, Rahm, who is super honest about a lot of things, speaks the truth. He didn't go as far as I think he would have liked. He's very measured, and he doesn't want to essentially bite the hand that is feeding him because he has a lot of guaranteed money coming from the LIV Golf Tour. I'm not saying the fields aren't good. The fields are good. They have great players over there. That's never been a question. But when you play one fewer round and you have fewer players in the field, it's easier to finish high on the leaderboard. I would certainly assume that if they played 72-hole events, which is customary on the PGA Tour, that he would probably have more wins. The more you play, the longer the tournament goes, the more likely the better players are to finish on top. So it's probably cost Rahm some events on the LIV Tour. All right, to the U.S. Open, and we'll bring in a couple of quick things before we get out of here. I'm going to...
I was going to say you should have you don't have a TV.
I don't have it on here
because I was going to say you'd probably just be watching.
Right,
that.
it would absolutely distract me. I don't have it on in front of me.
Yeah.
JJ Spawn, who if I'm not mistaken is a past champion of the Rex Hospital Open, or it's not called the Rex Hospital Open anymore. I don't believe. Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, up at Wakefield, and I know it's now being played, I think, at Raleigh Country Club. But he's a past champion. That's the Korn Ferry Tour, the second, the top flight of the minor leagues of golf. I think he won that 6-7 years ago. 4 under par with 1 hole to play is right now your leader by 2. 4 under, that is good golf at Oakmont, even though the conditions are sort of benign right now. Thomas Dietrich is a 2 under. Adam Scott, Ben Griffin, who, again, remember 4 years ago was like, I don't know, selling insurance or something. Ben Griffin, Gary Woodland, Siwoo Kim, Lanto Griffin. It's a multiple Griffin leaderboard. Thriston Lawrence, all at 1 under par. Ludwig Oberg is at even. He has been all over the map today. I'll tell you about Adam Scott's day. There is a large group at 1 over, which includes Rory McIlroy, who was at 2 under. So we are seeing the Rory of major championships. Good start, kind of fades. It would be really good for Rory if he could get a birdie back before the end of the day to feel good about going to tomorrow, because I think tomorrow's just going to get tougher later in the day, drier course. I think conditions tomorrow afternoon are going to be murderous unless they get some rain tonight or tomorrow. Rory did get off to such a good start, but it isn't working out for him now. And I like to go to the bottom of the leaderboard because that's where you see the real fun numbers. Justin Hicks not enjoying Oakmont. He's 13 over par with 1 hole to play. Let's see if we know Evan Beck, who is a golfer at Wake Forest. Evan Beck is 9 over through 17. There aren't as many top flight players. Shane Lowry has had a rough day. He holed out for an eagle. I think it was on the 5th hole or 6th hole. He played the front 9 second, so it was like his 13th or 14th hole, whatever it was. But he is 6 over par, so it's not going well for Shane Lowry. So those of you who had a Shane Lowry ticket, I may have. I don't know. I'm not even going to go back and look at what I had until today's round is over. It is not going well there. It is no longer going well for Rory McIlroy. But Adam Scott, and we'll close on this. Scott played the front 9 in 2 under par, but he made only 1 par. He had 5 birdies and 3 bogeys in his first 9 holes. He has 6 pars and a bogey on his second 9. He is playing the par 3 8th right now at 1 under par. So good for Adam Scott, but he has been an absolute roller coaster so far in his opening round. When we come back, look, let me just tease this. And we're going to talk to Cory Lavalette in a second. So the Hurricanes had 2 players named as top prospects in the American Hockey League. They have, not only do they have an all-star game or all-star team, but these are the best prospects in the American Hockey League. And on that list were Scott Morrow, defenseman, and Bradley Nadeau, a winger, who's scored 30-some-odd goals, 35 goals, maybe in his first NHL season. Still a teenager. I think he's 19 years old. So a lot of promise there. And apparently some in Hurricanes Nation, some Caniacs, did not appreciate that I referred to both players as assets.
Oh.
As if that was in some way a negative.
Dangling the carrot for other teams to get.
That's not a
That's
negative.
That's what they think.
That's not a negative.
No, it's a great thing.
If you refer to a player as an asset,
that means they're good.
Means he has value.
Yeah.
Cory Lavalette from The Athletic and North State Journal will join me to talk about that and more next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
2 extra passes. Caruso for 3. Buries it. Great ball movement for Oklahoma City.
The Stanley Cup Finals.
Pass it across. It's broken up. Here's a break. Bennett in. Scores! He roofs it. He went backhand, forehand. 4-1 Florida.
The U.S. Open and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
The weather is getting warmer, the days are getting longer, and it's the perfect time to uncover that bike and go on some adventures. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and with beautiful summer days, it can also bring some out-of-nowhere thunderstorms. And when you're on your bike in the middle of a rainstorm, it is always important to remember things like slowing your speed down, staying alert, avoiding puddles, and keeping reflective gear with you is always a great idea. But unfortunately, these precautionary measures don't always prevent an accident. And if you're ever in an accident that wasn't your fault on your motorcycle, one very important thing to remember is to always call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they get it. They understand everything, the value of your bike, your gear, what it's like to go through an accident. Case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You think Rush Hour Karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Garner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I touched a nerve yesterday. I referred to Bradley Nadeau and Scott Morrow as assets. That's all I said. Assets. Some people lost their minds. Cory Lavalette from The Athletic and North State Journal covers the Carolina Hurricanes. Might even work in a little Stanley Cup Finals chat here. Why not? Is it unfair for me to refer to Bradley Nadeau, who scored more than 30 goals in his first season of professional hockey after a year at Maine, and Scott Morrow, who we saw a little bit during the course of the season and then in the playoffs? Is it unfair for me to refer to them as assets?
Everyone's an asset. Everyone. This is a business. Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right.
All right, hold on one second. Cory's very low in my ear. Can you hear him fine? You can hear him fine. Okay, so it's just I'm operating with I think just one ear on my headphones. I can hear you enough to want to make sure we're good. Yeah, and I think people lose their minds over when you say assets, they're just assuming that I mean trade them. I mean they have value. Sometimes they have value to you, but if you could turn two assets like that into more of a sure thing, isn't that something the organization should consider?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's been any doubt that the Hurricanes have interest in Mitch Marner. And if you look at where they are on the wing, they've got Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis, Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, Logan Stankoven. So that's a whole lot of bodies, and then you add Bradley Nadeau to that. Felix Unger-Sorum is probably a winger and not a center. We'll see what happens with that.
Right.
But you have more bodies for top 9 roles than you have space. And if you're going to go and get an elite guy like that, you got to push somebody out. Now, it's great to have a Jackson Blake on your fourth line, if that's, how stacked your team is. But at the same time, if you can get better elsewhere by moving a Jackson Blake, a Bradley Nadeau, I think it's a no-brainer to do it, and this team has done it over and over again. Look at Florida. You said we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup final, maybe. Look at Florida. I mean, Eetu Luostarinen was an asset the Hurricanes used to get Vincent Trocheck. You can argue maybe that wasn't, in hindsight, and maybe it wasn't a good move. I still think it was, but but I mean, assets. Nick Waugh was an asset that became Eric Halla. That became Vincent Trocheck. So, you only have so much space on your NHL roster. It's okay to let guys marinate in the AHL for a bit, and that's still an option for a Bradley Nadeau. But if you can improve your team, improve your team. Jeez.
Cory Lavalette is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Cory Lav on Twitter. What do you think separated Carolina and Florida ultimately in that series?
Yeah, I feel like the series could have gone a different way if it hadn't gone so badly to start. If the Hurricanes had played like they did in game, didn't unravel in game one a bit, if you managed to get a win or get a split in those first two games, the series could have gone differently. But Florida's stacked, right? They are really good. I just mentioned Luostarinen. You're getting contributions from guys on a level that they didn't produce in the regular season. Luostarinen, somebody said to me on Twitter, Twitter, where great ideas go to be discussed. Yeah. Oh, we never should have let go of Luostarinen. But if you look at Luostarinen's regular season numbers, they're not as good as Jesperi Kotkaniemi's regular season numbers. And everybody, wants to ride him out on a pole. But he's producing in the playoffs. He's been really good in the postseason. He's been really good since Brad Marchand came over. And so, when you're getting those contributions down the lineup, we've seen it in the past with Jordan Martinook having a big series or Jesper Fast having a big playoff and things like that. You need that, right? You need those contributions down the lineup to, along with your big guns contributing. Sound like I'm Canadian. Composite
Cory
stick.
Lavalette is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. In terms of, because you mentioned Mitch Marner, and look, the idea of having a player, a dynamic player, an offensive performer who also takes the defensive side of the puck seriously, because Marner, I saw a list of the best defensive players, not in terms of who's up for the Selke, but the best defensive players among the best offensive players, and Mitch Marner's on that list every year. He's a dynamite defensive player. I'm not entirely sure that's what Carolina needs, because they have a lot of players who are more apt to pass than shoot, and Marner is a setup guy. I certainly don't not want Mitch Marner. Don't you think they need to get better at center? I shouldn't lead the witness here, but I think they need to get better at center. What do you think of that?
I guess the big issue is who do you get at center? Everybody in the NHL wants a right-handed center, and there are not a whole lot of options out there. I floated this at the beginning of last year, and while it's not ideal to have two centers that are maybe 6 feet, Sebastian Aho, and under 6 feet, do you try Seth Jarvis there? I know his shoulder is still wonky, and that could affect that idea, but you have all these wingers, and if you go and get a guy like Mitch Marner, could you let Seth Jarvis drive a line as a center? Is that a possibility? He certainly can handle it defensively. He's not the biggest guy in the world, right. But, as Rod Brindamore's pointed out a million times, Tampa Bay's top line is, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, and Jake Gensel, and none of those guys are particularly big. You can win, you can be really good with a smaller lines, and it's not like the guys on the wings are necessarily small. Taylor Hall's got size, Svechnikov's got size, little small elsewhere, but you need to do something there because it's not working. The question is who do you go get? Is John Tavares the answer? Probably not.
Do you think John Tavares wants to play Carolina Hurricanes hockey?
Right. I mean, is Sam Bennett the answer? I think that's a guy that you have to be really, really careful with the kind of contract you offer him, because the way he plays, we've seen it year in and year out. Guys like Michael Furland and Andrew Ladd and Kyle Okposo, David Clarkson. Maybe David Clarkson's not the greatest example because he had like one big year and a contract year, but these big, rugged, forwards that play a heavy game, they tend to age. I mean, Jordan Stahl's a big guy, but he doesn't play physically. He's not, the kind of guy who's running guys through the boards every shift, and he, he has aged well and will continue to age well, I think. But the Sam Bennetts of the world, I mean, you just wonder where is he going to be in 2 years? Look at Mika Zibanejad, who's not even physical, and already, the wheels are kind of coming off there.
Yeah, by the way, I think Sam Bennett's going to be in Florida in 2 years. I don't see Sam Bennett leaving the Panthers. My guess is they re-sign Bennett for sure. Maybe Aaron Ekblad. I know they have Seth Jones, but heck, I think you could always use two number one right-handed defensemen since you could play a lot of the guys, a ton of minutes anyway. I think they re-sign both of their big free agents, and who knows if they also re-sign Brad Marchand. They'd probably have to jettison something out the other side if they want to keep all three. There have been rumors. Cory Lavalette is joining us here. Real quick, final thing on the Hurricanes. There have been rumors that the Hurricanes are looking to do something with Brent Burns and bring him back, probably a one-year deal. What are your thoughts on Burns and a fourth year with Carolina, and what else should they be looking at on the blue line?
Well, if you're going to do that, I think it needs to be in a lesser role. I don't think you can continue to play him 22 minutes a night. And, is he willing to accept that? I'm not saying he's a selfish player, but he's a guy who's logged a lot of minutes his whole career. Every player will tell you the more, I don't know if it's just a vehicle of wanting to play more, or if it's actually the truth, but every player will tell you, the more you play, the more you feel into the game, et cetera, et cetera. That's a tough one because, I mean, if you do re-sign him, and let's say, they used Sean Walker a bit on the right side with Slavin in key situations, and if that's the move you're going to make and move Sean Walker up, can you play Brent Burns and Shane Gostisbehere together? I don't know. Can you play Brent Burns with a rookie like Alexander Nikishin? I don't know. I think a lot of Jacob Slavin covers a lot of problems, and I'm not saying Brent Burns was a constant problem or anything. I thought he had a good year as a defensive defenseman. He had his mistakes, it happens. But his offense isn't where it was. And we saw, I'm going to write about this for The Athletic this week, but we saw what can happen when Jacob Slavin plays with an elite right-handed defenseman. And I think that, to me, that should be the, one of the priorities is going and getting someone who can play with him. Or and I don't mind Sean Walker getting a shot in that role because I think his offensive numbers this year were a bit of a mirage. I think he could have produced more, especially playing alongside a guy like Slavin who let you roam around a little bit.
Yeah, I think Sean Walker can play up some, but I don't think he's a number one right-handed defenseman. That's, to me, the first thing they should be going. That and a bona fide center. Those, to me, should be the two targets in this offseason. I don't think the head coach wants Seth Jarvis playing the middle. Not that I don't think its size isn't the issue. He just thinks that Jarvis is too effective where he is to lessen that player's ability to impact the game, even if they're looking for a center. Maybe it'll be by necessity down the road, but I don't think that's the way they want it to work out. What is Edmonton must? What I said this earlier. I guess I'm backdooring the question for Cory Lavalette. Based on what we know about Florida and how they change their game when they get a lead, is it that much more important for the Oilers to get the first goal tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think we learned that in the Carolina series, right? How big of a difference it makes when you score first and how you can stay in the game. I don't even know, and I mentioned this on social media, but I don't know that Florida did a whole lot of instigating after getting a lead in that game. I think that was just Edmonton maybe reacting to some stuff that has happened throughout the series, and just, frustration boiling over, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, that team gets ahead, and their biggest asset is they keep coming. They do not sit back. They come at you. Nothing changes. They are the same gritty, physical, try to score every shift team. They don't like drop back and try to just defend their own net. So yeah, that's important. And everyone kind of wanted to anoint Edmonton as though they're a changed team this year, but to me it looks like the same team to me. Although Jeff Skinner playing tonight, so maybe that's the difference.
It's a 2 Skinner night for the Edmonton Oilers. Cory Lavalette, North State Journal, and The Athletic. We'll be looking for the piece on Burns.
Yeah, well, I mean, it won't so much be on Burns as what do you do next to Jacob Slavin, but Brent Burns is an option there, so we'll see. We know they have a left-handed guy they really, really like that's going to play a lot of minutes under Slavin this year. The question becomes who plays next to him.
Final thing, real quick. Do you what are your thoughts on Scott Morrow and his NHL ceiling's not the right word because who knows? Do you think he needs more time in the A?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, he had a really good year in the AHL, and he learned how to play in all situations. I mean, you're thrusting him into a really tough situation, playing him, in a playoff series against Florida. That's tough.
No good.
A tough draw. He looked good when he came up the second time this year. I think, again, the question becomes, where do you fit these guys in? You're not going to play Nikishin and Morrow together unless you're totally want to light Rod Brindamore's hair on fire and see what happens. But, so then it becomes the question of, does he play with Shane Gostisbehere? Is that the right fit for him? Does he play with Jacob Slavin? I don't think that's the worst fit in the world. The question is, can you play them together 20 minutes as a rookie? I don't think so. But I think that's the kind of player you'd like to see next to Jacob Slavin, an offensive guy that can, that, is willing to go for it a little bit and know that you have a valve behind you that cleans up a lot of your mistakes. But, I mean, I think there was a lot of, oh my God, this guy can't play. And that's silly. He's still a really good player, but if you're going to go get a good right-handed defenseman, if you're going to go get a right-handed center or any kind of center, that's a guy people are going to ask about. They're not going to trade Nikishin, but they're going to ask about your assets.
Yeah.
Like we started. Look at it. See what we did here? We buttoned this up.
Perfect.
Really nice.
We bookended it. We brought it right back to the assets.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not a negative. Cory Lavalette, North State Journal, and The Athletic, at Cory Lav on Twitter. My friend, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got one-timers. I know people have questions. One-timers where you can ask anything you like, and I will just fire off answers from the left face-off circle. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. The NBA Finals are underway, and FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props. And now you can do everything right within the app with new performance trends, especially if it's after tip-off, because FanDuel is the place for live betting of the NBA Finals. New customers, $200 in bonus bets to you if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, Adults with a family physician have lower health care costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family Physicians, your trusted health care advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
This is Adam Gold.
I have so many questions too. Like, is the mom going to be in the business too? Are we going to have themed UNC products? She's in it, so.
Interesting ram horn you've got there.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. Darin Gantt, next hour from Panthers training camp. We'll run the numbers with our guy Ben Seltzer on Stanley Cup Finals Game 4, and a game that, honestly, the Edmonton Oilers, obviously have to win, but I think have to get out in front of the game. I think Cory's right. I referenced it yesterday, that Florida didn't really provoke Edmonton other than they kept scoring goals. But Florida has a way of provoking you without provoking you. And then when they get the lead, they get to just laugh in your face. And Edmonton's got to play with a little bit more composure, but they really have to play with the lead. Anyway, we'll talk Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals next hour as well. Right now, it's one-timers.
Okay, so as you know, people can add us on Twitter or on our YouTube stream. And looking at our YouTube stream, we've got one from Chris. He says, not too confident about Marner. Don't know why, but would you rather see Marner or Robertson? I'm assuming Jason Robertson.
Yeah, Dallas is looking to trade a player. To be perfectly honest, Robertson has had playoff scoring issues. Marner has had playoff scoring issues. I'm not going to allow those types of things to get in the way of adding a good player or a great player. I think Jason Robertson is more of what Carolina needs, size and a goal scorer. Marner, the better overall player, again, more of a distributor than he is a goal scorer. Not that he can't score goals, because he can. Marner's the better player. But I think we lose sight of, we're not building a fantasy team here. What we are trying to do is build the best team that they can build. What does Carolina really lack? Where do they really lack it? They do need goals. They do need goals, A, from the middle of the ice, meaning a center, and also on defense, since Brent Burns' goals have dried up. So I think they need a top right defenseman and a center, maybe a goalie. But those are the two things I need. Not entirely sure that Robertson or Marner satisfies that.
Next up, we've got another one from our YouTube stream. Do you see Svechnikov as a core piece to continue to build around, or given his inconsistency in the regular season, should the Canes sell high after his solid playoff run?
I don't think they'd be selling high, because it's not like he was such a great player in the Florida series. So that's a problem. And I think the idea that they would move Andre, honestly, it ain't happening. So Andre's just going to be here and hopefully get better. That's the best thing for Carolina. They're not moving Andre Svechnikov. I mean, if somebody asked for him in a deal that brought you a star back, then yeah, you could do that. But they're in no way are they actively looking to move Andre.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at X Golf in Cary, North Carolina's premier indoor golf experience, and I have a great idea. Beat the summer heat and get your golf on at the same time. Grab your foursome, even a sixsome, and head over to the X Golf in McGregor Village Shopping Center. Take advantage of my special buy one, get one free deal. Buy an hour, get the second hour free. Just mention Gold and enjoy. Heck, it's already less expensive than your regular course, and it's not 100 degrees and humid. X Golf in Cary, North Carolina's home for indoor golf.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
Marchand roofs it. Florida strikes just 56 seconds in.
Hockey tonight. Florida, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Game 4. Puck drop at 8.
Here's a break. Bennett in. Scores! He roofs it. He went backhand, forehand. 4-1 Florida.
On your audio home for the Stanley Cup Final. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
In World War I, American fighter pilots covering a plane's rear position coined the phrase, "I've got your six," to mean I've got your back. Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org using the number 6.
Stat on credit cards? Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Oh, wow, a turnover in the Edmonton zone, and Reinhardt off the post and in gives the Cats the 2-goal lead back. It was John Klingberg trying to carry the puck from behind the Edmonton goal. He got run over on the far boards, and a quick transition. Reinhardt makes it 3-1.
The Sam Reinhardt goal is the inflection point of the game. So at 2-1, especially based on what both teams have kind of been through in the first two, there is no lead at that point, and Sam's goal was very important for us.
Paul Maurice, the head coach of the Florida Panthers. Did you see his bench interview during Game 3 where he was talking about Sam Bennett, and then Jackie Redmond asked him about the future with Sam Bennett, and then Paul Maurice went, "Oh, he's no good. He's ill.
He's terrible. He's awful.
He's got rheumatic fever." He just started making up things about Sam Bennett.
Yeah, Jackie was like, "This is why I love you."
Yeah,
I love his person, even if I don't necessarily agree with his handshake newfound epiphany. I think he's hilarious.
There is. Oh no, he's got a great sense of humor. Paul Maurice definitely does. When every once in a while, and whether I agree with his handshake thing or not, and I don't, it doesn't really matter. And he is not the first, and he won't be the last person to reach this point. But Paul Maurice, there's a phrase where you start smelling your own, right? And I think Paul Maurice has reached that part.
Right.
Or point. Whereas, to me, it's a nonsensical, like, we didn't play, therefore we shouldn't get into the handshake line. And you are free to feel that way. I'm not going to argue with how you feel about a certain tradition in sports.
Sure.
But I think that's your opinion of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that our head coach here feels the opposite of that.
He does.
And this is what I have always said about Rod and why I think players love playing for him.
He's the best.
Well, yes, but the reason I feel like players love playing for Brind'Amour is that Rod has always thought like a player, not a coach. He is a coach, but he thinks like a player.
And he even admitted it, too, like in his exit interview.
I've said that. I've said that about him many, many times. And, yes, he thinks like a player. And I know there are people who might not think that's good or not. I don't really care. He doesn't care, but that's just the way he thinks. And I believe he puts the effort in. Like, he does a lot of the same work that they do off the ice.
Mm-hmm.
The workouts.
Yep.
He does a lot of that same stuff. I've seen it.
Yeah.
He doesn't finish last in the conditioning.
That's why he eats whatever he wants.
That is also true. Blessed. Just blessed. So, Rod believes that he is in the fight with his players. And I think those, even, when it comes in a loss, those mean a lot to him, and he's not grandstanding about it. He's not trying to get on TV. That's where I think and you're free to feel that you belong in the handshake line or not. But I thought that was a point where Maurice, I think, overstepped, basically making it an ego thing after a series as opposed to, this is what we do.
Yeah, he doesn't even like the camera. He's not trying to get on TV more.
Yeah, that is true. That is a very true thing about Rod. He doesn't want attention. He's not interested in the attention. But
he was classy enough to respect Paul Maurice's request.
No, he did not like it. It was pretty obvious. We could tell. We could absolutely tell that he did not like it.
Nope.
And hopefully, going forward, Rod will be able to dictate the terms of whatever happens after a series. I hope that the Hurricanes beat the Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals next year, and Rod forces Paul Maurice
first.
Right? Yes, exactly. You get in line first, buddy. There is one thing that Maurice said about that in the post-game press conference at the end of the Eastern Conference Finals that I found funny, because it was true. When Maurice said we had so many people in suits, I've never seen this before. The Panthers actually, and they traveled a ton of scouts, executives. I don't know how many people were here. And they were all out on the ice. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a sea of people in suits.
You bring your daughter to work day? What's going on?
It was worse than that. So, in that regard, he's like, we have so many people, we would be out there forever. And they were there to shake the hands only of their own players. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Take two. Darin Gantt, by the way, is going to join us in less than 10 minutes. And we're going to talk about the Panthers in minicamp. A couple of quick observations. Obviously, I'm not there. I know Dennis Cox went down yesterday. And we're going to talk about the wide receiver room with Darin Gantt, because I think it has been an absolute noticeable difference for Carolina in that that position, which a couple of years ago was weakness, doesn't do, like, it offends the word weakness to call Carolina's wide receiver position 2 years ago a weakness. It was way worse than that. It was a life-sucking thing.
Yes.
The only redeeming player was Adam Thielen. And boy, it looks a lot different now. Jalen Coker, one of those exciting, out-of-nowhere developing players. And the connection with his quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's what good teams are made of, and I think that's what we're trying to breed here, and that's what, you can see it on the field today. You can see it throughout offseason. You could see it coming into the end of last year. You could see that kind of building up. And that's just, like I said, that's just what good teams do, and that we're going to continue to build on that for the rest of the year.
I direct you to Panthers Playbook for more of that conversation with Jalen Coker. We are just about halfway through the opening round of the U.S. Open. J.J. Spawn. Yeah. Your leader, 4 under par. Siwoo Kim, 3 under. Ben Griffin, 2 under. Thomas Dietrich, Thriston Lawrence, also 2 under. Every time I say Thriston Lawrence, and it's not the first time I've said it, all I can think of is Thurston Howell.
Yeah, I could see that.
Lovey. Sorry.
Yeah. Not a lot of Thristons.
Robert McIntyre is at 1 under. Adam Scott finished at even after he made so many birdies on the front, his first 9. Scott finished at even. Rory McIlroy was at one point at 2 under par, did not finish at 2 under par. Let's find Rory McIlroy somewhere here. Yes! He's not even done yet. Rory has gone the other way. Oh, yeah. Rory birdied 2 of his first 3 holes today. He was 2 under through 3. Bogeyed his 10th, the first hole. Bogeyed the 4th, 6th, 7th. Double bogeyed the 8th. And Rory, by the way, if you have a Rory McIlroy to miss the cut ticket.
Oh, there's one of those.
Plus 235. Maybe you have that.
Wonder what JJ's numbers were to lead.
I don't even want to talk about the fact that I considered him for a first-round leader.
Was that the one
ticket.
yesterday that was like a bajillion plus a bajillion?
No, I didn't mention him yesterday.
Okay.
There were a bunch of guys who were plus a lot to lead after the first round. I did not choose J.J. Spawn. Anyway, there are big numbers at Oakmont. Bryson DeChambeau was at 1.1 under par, and I believe he's at 2 over right now. Got to find Bryson. But yes, Xander Schauffele has rallied to get to 2 over par because Schauffele at one point was at 4 over par. He's playing with DeChambeau. DeChambeau is 3 over, and he's finishing up on his last hole, the 18th today. But there have been several scores in the 80s. Justin Hicks in 84, Matt Vogt, an amateur in 82. Let's see, that kind of jumped all over the place. Alistair Dockery, whoever that is, shot an 80, but there are some big scores out there. Oakmont is not even arguable. It's probably the toughest course in the United States of America. And when they make it ready for a United States Open, yeah, good luck with that. Shane Lowry is 9 over. He had a late lead in the U.S. Open in 2016, the one that Dustin Johnson won. Shane Lowry was a final round leader at one point. 9 over par. It is relentless. Absolutely relentless. All right, we'll take a break. Darin Gantt will join us on the other side. We'll talk Panthers mandatory minicamp and fun next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Golf's third major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover the U.S. Open from Oakmont Country Club. Find out if Bryson DeChambeau can go back-to-back or if a new champion emerges. Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Champions Trophy. Coverage of the U.S. Open on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by Wilson Country Club. Experience the rich history of this must-play course.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And I know we got Game 4 Stanley Cup Finals tonight. Oilers are plus $1.25 on the money line. Edmonton's got to win, otherwise this series is going to come to a quick end, I fear. Meanwhile, in the NBA playoffs, I told you I liked the Pacers at plus a lot at home, and they got it done. Also, if you parlayed that with the under, you cashed even a bigger prize. And right now, new customers will get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Tim Donnelly here for Men's Health Month. We are catching up with Dr. Jonathan Chappell, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon from Wake Orthopedics. Doctor, when is an injury bad enough? How do you know that you should go see an orthopedics specialist?
It's a great question, and it's something that both providers and patients often struggle with. If you are in activity and you have an injury and you feel a pop or you have immediate swelling, immediate pain in a joint and you can't bear weight, such as lower extremity, like an ankle or knee, or you notice a deformity, like in a wrist or a collarbone, these are circumstances you should probably see someone at an urgent care like Wake Orthopedic Urgent Care or at Wake Med to seek help right away. If it's something where there's some mild swelling, some irritation of a joint for a few days after an event, you can often give it a period of rest, take some anti-inflammatories, do some stretching, and many times they'll resolve on their own.
For answers to questions like that one and much more about men's health, please visit wakemed.org.
Hey friends, Paul Eihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summer's heat up, and so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with Energy Smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
I'm really excited about next season, considering this was supposed to be a rebuild year. But with these new guys, like Bradley Nadeau, we've got Nikishin coming eventually. If we've got Hall still here, Jackson Blake, I mean, there's so much promise and potential. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, and just wait till the big kid gets ready to play.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's time to ask the old guy. For the first time since minicamp has begun, Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. We asked the old guy. We are, 2/3 of the way through actually just about done, I guess, because they're already on the field right now. Minicamp, mandatory minicamp. And I guess we have to start with Bryce the Mouth, that Bryce Young has become this Michael Jordan-esque trash talker?
Yeah, maybe not quite Michael Jordan, but I think, and it's like with all stories, there are only so many kinds of stories, and fish out of water is one of the basics. It's one of the tropes, and when you've seen a guy be quiet, be polite, and then all of a sudden he starts yapping, it's like, oh, well, that's not what I'm accustomed to, and it stands in stark relief. I think a lot of this is Bryce has always had an edge about him. Listen, you don't play the kind of football he played at Alabama, get to the level he got to without having a little bit of edge. But the problem was when he got here, he didn't have results to go with it.
Right.
And it's hard to talk when you're not having results. So I think this is just a natural outgrowth of the way they played second half of the season, how comfortable he feels with Dave Canales, and being in a situation that's stable and normal for a minute. And I think that's been the biggest thing. I mean, this is probably who he is. He's got a playful side. messes with teammates. He's jawing back and forth with J.C. Horn. That's always been there. It's just more visible now because he's comfortable enough to let it out.
All right, let's talk about the different vibe that you're getting. Now, and I'm not talking about this playful side. I'm talking about Bryce Young, the quarterback of the future.
Right.
What have you seen from him now in his third training camp, second coaching staff, but the first time he's had, basically the same system 2 years in a row?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the stability is the biggest thing that's happening around here. When you've got the same set of coaches, effectively the same set of offensive personnel. I mean, they brought this thing back almost turnkey with the exception of, losing Ian Thomas and, some spare parts and then bringing in a Teteroa McMillan. I mean, this offense is a net gain in terms of personnel this offseason. And I think just having the same set of coaches, the same play calls, knowing things. Dave Canales talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and he said, we're able to build on things that, things that worked well last year, we can develop them. We can add to. We can find new stuff that we're good at. We can find new stuff we like. And, already this camp, you're seeing plays out there on the field that it's like, oh, well, they didn't try that last year. And I just think as they get more comfortable around each other, that gives them the opportunity to expand this thing and become more diverse as an offense. I mean, if you look at it, you knew the way you were going to run when it was Chuba Hubbard. Now that you add a Rico Dowdle to the mix, it's like, oh, well, this adds a layer, and you can do this and this and this with it. And I just think all of that is a function of everybody being more comfortable, Bryce chief among them.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, is joining us here as we ask the old guy. We are just about wrapping up the mandatory minicamp. The wide receiver group, I hear a lot of buzz. Mostly I read a lot of buzz about this, a lot of it from you. So what have you seen? What have you seen maybe with Xavier Liggett taking a step from year one to year two? I know Tet's been a little bit hobbled, but I'm sure we have seen flashes of what he's capable of. What have you seen from that group?
Okay, first things first, we can't call him Tet. Tet is not an approved nickname for
really?
Teteroa McMillan. Yeah, and you know what? Here's the very most important and most basic reason. Mama don't like it.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's good.
When I talked to his mother, Shawnee, when she was here with him night after the draft or day after the draft, somebody asked, hey, is it okay if we call you Ted? And she was like, nope. And somebody said, why? And she said, because I named him Teteroa. So our approved list, we can go T-Mac, we can go Nalo. Frankly, I think I'm a little bit too old to call him either of those things.
Right.
So when I've addressed him by name, I've generally just gone by his given name, Teteroa. That being said, this is a much deeper group. I mean, Adam, if you look at what's happened here, not only do you draft Teteroa, you draft Jimmy Horn Jr. late, you go in and bring in a free agent, you take a flyer on Hunter Renfrow to see if he can get back to where he can be or has been. Hunter Renfrow is healthy again after basically being out and not himself for a couple of years because of the ulcerative colitis diagnosis. And now you add 3 dudes to that mix, and all of a sudden you start doing roster math. It's like, okay, they keep 6 of these. And so once you go down through the Adam, Teteroa, Xavier, then you throw in Jalen Coker, and all of a sudden you're looking around. It's like, whoa, they've got more dudes than spots. And that's not something you could say about this team the last couple of years.
No.
I mean, they've added significantly to the depth at wide receiver. I think defensive tackles, the other position that's kind of stands out in that way. It's just once you build out the roster and spend another year developing guys and adding more parts to it, then you can kind of see what they want this thing to be. And I think that, you know, a lot of times last year they were playing people because they were available, not because they were qualified. And this year they've added so much competition to that roster that it's forcing guys to step up. I mean, Jalen Coker was out there playing because there wasn't anybody else to play at times last year, and now he's going to have to fight for a roster spot. So I think that competition is good for everybody, and you've seen XL kind of, and I am comfortable calling him XL for the record.
Wait, what? That doesn't make sense to me. Why are you more comfortable with XL as opposed to T-Mac?
His mama hadn't told me not to,
Okay.
is the reason. So if she does, then I will stop. So when family gets in and starts dictating stuff like that, I will respect their wishes.
By the way,
Xavier has had a much better spring. I mean, yesterday when T-Mac was out, he catches a couple touchdowns in red zone work, and it's like, oh, yeah, there is another first-round pick on this roster, isn't there?
By the way, Darin Gantt is joining us here, Panthers.com. Did you catch any of XL's, I'll just use the word antics, certainly not in a bad way, at the Stanley Cup playoffs when he came up here and was sitting on the glass at a Canes game?
I love it. I love everything about it. I love him showing up in a Glorilla video. You and I are both big fans of Glorilla's entire catalog.
Who is it?
I know. Yeah. I loved him at the Kentucky Derby. Here's what I want to emphasize. I want sports to be fun.
Yeah.
I hate what we do to sports sometimes. People are complaining about an epic NBA Finals because, what about the ratings? Who cares about the ratings? Do you work for ABC? I don't work for ABC, but I sure do like basketball. This basketball is really good. Okay. Is XL out there living his best life this offseason? He is. Is he also here every day getting better at his job? I mean, I watched him source my two eyes, come back off a rough day of practice one day early on in OTAs, and he walks right over to the king of the grinders, Chuba Hubbard, and says, hey, let me get on jugs with you. He's doing the work. So, if a guy is doing his job and fulfilling all his responsibilities, I have a hard time having any problem whatsoever with the stuff he does in his off hours.
Darin Gantt is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. It was just a blast to hear that. I love the mic'd up stuff was so good.
It's genuine fun, and who hates genuine fun?
There are people out there, you know them, Darin, maybe not personally, but we know of them, that take all of this
the worst.
Exactly, way too seriously. Two more things, and then we will let Darin Gantt go. You can follow him on Twitter at Darin Gantt with 2 T's for extra talent. Give me one other standout, whether it's a player or a specific position group that you think is noticeably improved over last year.
Oh, I think defensive line. I mean, you go from, again, they set all the wrong kind of records last year on defense. We all know that, and there ain't but so much point in rehashing it. You bring back a healthy Derek Brown. That's the big first step. Then you go out in free agency and you sign Bobby Brown and Turk Wharton. Then you get in the draft and add a gigantic rookie in Cam Jackson. And by the way, look at Panthers.com for the pictures of gigantic Cam Jackson next to little bitty Jimmy Horn. That's high comedy. And Cam really loves doing that. I think Jimmy's on the verge of taking offense, but they've added bodies to that group, and now all of a sudden, A'Shawn Robinson doesn't have to play 75% of the snaps like he did last year. Now all of a sudden, some of these other guys who, are great backups who were forced into roles that they weren't great at last year can be good backups again. And I just think that adding so much depth at that position is going to allow a lot of things to get better defensively. I mean, because that's where it all started up front last year, and all those ugly numbers that came against the run. I mean, what was it, 200 yards rushing per game in each of the last 6, I think it was. I mean, it was just ugly. But you add a bunch of people to it, and now all of a sudden, Josie Jewell, Trevin Wallace are going to like their lives a lot more. They're happier because instead of, people who aren't necessarily qualified, there's Derek Brown in front of me again. I kind of dig this.
All right, that's good. Now to the head coach. Is there a different, confidence, mood around Dave Canales this year? Obviously, the way the year ended on a positive upswing, especially on the offensive side of the ball, has to give him a little bit more confidence. Dare I say swagger? Am I allowed to say that about Dave Canales?
I think you can say it, but I think it's kind of like certain nicknames. You and I might be too old to say certain things.
Right.
So, but here's what I'll tell you about Dave. I mean, I think just like Bryce, he benefits from being in the same place, same time for 2 years in a row. I mean, this is a guy, he talked last year about, I keep changing the stickers, I keep changing the color of my binders. When you go from Seattle to Tampa to Carolina, boom, 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 3 years in a row, he hadn't had a chance to settle in, and now he has. The thing I like about Dave, though, and listen, you and I have been around this long enough. All coaches say most of the same words. I mean, you pull the string, you get coach words.
Yep.
The difference about Dave is he behaves the same way every day. I mean, and guys have used the word. I remember Andy Dalton saying, I've been around a lot of coaches. They all say the same stuff. With Dave, there's a genuineness and an authenticity. He's made connections with guys. They believe him, and he's building something. So he has, to his credit, he has been the same guy every day. He doesn't just talk about it. He comes out here wearing basically the same outfit every day, does basically the same routine before every practice, and then coaches these guys the same way. I mean, he just doesn't, he's got this relentless positivity that becomes the headline in a lot of places, but it's his consistency that stands out to me, honestly, from standing here watching him for about a year and a half.
Darin Gantt, your consistency, your dedication to fun always stands out. At Darin Gantt,
I'm pro fun, and I hope I remain that way the rest of my days.
I know you will, sir. I appreciate your time. I will talk to you very soon.
Yep, sounds good. See y'all.
God, I love talking to Darin Gantt. I think we just scared Ben Seltzer here. I love talking to Darin Gantt about the Panthers. I sense. Look, every team. We have 32 teams in the NFL. Almost said NHL, although there are 32 teams in the NHL. When you're in the mini camp portion of the tour, everybody feels a little extra pep in the step. But it is. I think there's reason to be optimistic about Carolina, not in terms of being great, but in terms of finally giving their fans something to really enjoy. It's been a minute. When was the last time you enjoyed a regular season, Victoria?
Well, my dad and I did go to the one of
two
games that they beat the Houston Texans. So.
Going to games,
yes,
is not enjoying the regular season. When was the last time you enjoyed a regular season?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Right?
It's been
18.
A few minutes.
Remember the first half of 18 with Cam before the second shoulder injury?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And then, of course, it all fizzled out.
That was a lifetime ago.
In football terms, yes.
Mm-hmm.
In football. We're only about halfway since the Buffalo Sabres stopped making the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of the Buffalo Sabres, actually has nothing to do with the Buffalo Sabres. We have Stanley Cup Finals Game 4 tonight. Ben Seltzer, as we run the numbers with Ben, is in studio with us. Haven't seen you since the Hurricanes stopped playing.
It's been a while.
It's 2 weeks from today, right?
It's like the end of May that they were ousted.
2 weeks from today. No, it was that end of May?
May 28th.
Was that the final date?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I'm all about numbers. Come on.
2 weeks ago today. Yeah, it would be 28th. No, yesterday. 2 weeks because it was a Wednesday. 2 weeks ago yesterday was their the fateful Game 5. Man, it looked so good.
It started well.
It did. It Sebastian Aho with the let's do this. Yeah, we were all feeling it, and then it all just fizzled.
Can't count out Florida.
Oh my gosh, Florida. What are your thoughts on what we have seen from the Panthers through? They're just 3 games of this series.
They're just doing their thing, right?
Yeah.
Back in that series, we were talking about their depth, how deep they are. They're enviable of every team, and just to prove that a little bit, the Barkov line through the playoffs, 51 points. The Bennett line through the playoffs, 53 points. The Lundell line through the playoffs, 49 points. What does that tell you? Is that consistent?
First of all, that's a lot of points.
Is that consistent or what are we talking about? A margin of 4 here?
It's a lot of points. So they played their first round series against Tampa 5 games.
Yes.
Their second round series against Toronto, that went 7.
Yep.
And then 5, so 17. So they played 20 games.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a lot of points.
And just to compare it, I mean, if the Oilers, okay, doing their top 3, I mean, they've kind of juggled the line.
Because they put McDavid and Draisaitl together a lot.
But if we were to just go the trios from last game, RNH, McDavid, Perry, that 62 points. The Draisaitl line, 46 points. The third line, 18.
Yep.
That's the drop off.
Yep.
That's the difference. So there's consistency in Florida, and they're showing it to you. I mean, I didn't run the fourth line for Florida. I'm sure it's not upwards of 40 points.
Probably closer to 18.
Yeah. It's definitely under 20, let's put it that way. But they provide the physicality and all that, which is what you need. But, I mean, the Oilers, yes, they're deeper than last year, but that third-line production,
it's crazy.
You need more.
Yeah, it's funny. I go back. Basically, I've been saying this for a long time about the Hurricanes, is that once you get past Carolina's top line and then their second line in the playoffs is always the stall line because of the defensive assignments that they get, so they play a lot of minutes.
Right.
It's especially on home ice, Carolina's third line, the second scoring line. And for years, that featured Martin Necas.
Yeah.
Right? This is where Carolina's got to take advantage of the other team. And in the series that they have won, I haven't looked at it, likely have.
Uh-huh.
But in the series where they have lost, I know for a fact they haven't. And this is where Florida does separate itself.
Yeah.
Carolina's got depth. Florida's got that. And that is better.
Hey, I agree with you with what Carolina should go after is that second-line center. I mean,
or a first-line center.
Yeah.
No offense to Sebastian Aho.
If you get somebody better in Aho, sure. You know, I mean, having Sebastian Aho at a second-line center, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
It would be like McDavid Draisaitl.
It would be. Well.
I mean, sure, not to that level, of course, but it's deep. You're coming at, those top two centers for a majority of the game. That's a lot.
And they need that, and they need, in my opinion, I'm not even sure it shouldn't be their first priority in finding a top right-handed defenseman to play with Jacob Slavin. And I know you heard me talk about it yesterday because I got a text from you that Slavin was 8th in the Norris Trophy voting, which I get it, it's fine. Cale Makar is the best defenseman in the sport. I'm not even arguing that because he's a good defenseman. Yeah. On top of the fact that he is scoring at a level that Carolina doesn't have a forward scoring at, Cale Makar is also a very good defenseman. Zach Werenski had an amazing year and is also a good defenseman. So when I looked at that list, I was like, okay, there's one, maybe two players on that list I would want right now, but I don't even know that I would take Werenski over Jacob Slavin. Everybody else in that list, other than Makar,
sure,
I'd rather have Slavin. Of course, whatever. People say what they want. I don't care. And I just joked that Slavin was 314th in the NHL in points.
Yeah. And tied for 70th among D-men.
That was what you said.
Yeah.
Tied for 70th among defensemen.
Yeah. I'm surprised he was 8th in the voting. That far down on the scoring, and you said they're 1, 2, 3 in scoring, in D-scoring.
The top three were
we need
Makar,
two separate awards.
We do.
The Vezina, up until the early 80s, used to be goals against average. You won the award, and it used to be a tandem. And then they made the Jennings Trophy. Let's split up the Norris. Me being biased, let's make it the Scott Stevens Award, and Jake Slavin will win the first one.
So here's the funny thing about Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta won the Jennings Trophy their first year, 22. They won it. They had the best goals against average.
Yeah. Well, that one's the best goals against, strictly.
Right.
And you have to, the backup has to meet a minimum amount of games. I think it's maybe 15, 20
They both
games.
played a lot.
Yeah.
They both played a lot. Anderson actually got hurt at the end of the year, but they both played a fair amount.
Right.
So, and they both had really good years. And, of course, in 22, when we got to the playoffs, we relied on Ranta with a little bit of help from Pyotr Kochetkov because Anderson missed the last, 12 or so games of the regular season with an injury he suffered in Colorado.
Right.
And then never played. He was scheduled to return for the conference finals had they beaten the Rangers in Game 7.
Was it a knee injury, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what he ultimately got fixed this year that kept him out for 3 months. But I don't know. He's back. We got Freddie Anderson back again. So what else do you have?
Speaking of depth, I mean, if we were to go through those top guys, McDavid, Draisaitl, you're picking them always. But coming off a loss, not coming off a loss, coming off a 0-point effort, McDavid, since the 2022 playoffs, you want to know his next game stats?
Oh, they have to be ridiculous.
In 12 games, 5 goals, 16 assists, 21 points, nearly 2 points a game.
Okay. That's not that ridiculous for him.
Well, if you look game by game, there's a few 3-pointers, there's a few 4-pointers.
We're going to need that from McDavid tonight.
Yeah. Record, not so good, 6-6 in that span. But if you remember, it was a 6-1 game. Both McDavid and Draisaitl were held off the score sheet.
Uh-oh.
So we're looking at now, when they're both held off the score sheet, what do they do next? So this is their whole playoff career. It's happened 10 times. Draisaitl, 4 goals, 10 points. McDavid, 4 goals, 14 points. So I'm expecting a response.
Right.
And once again, the record, this is even worse. Oilers are 2-8 in those games, the next one.
After they were both held off the score
pointless, sheet. Next game. Before the series we were talking about, we were both picking the Oilers to win.
I did. I picked the Oilers. I wanted Florida to win, but I thought the Oilers would win.
I think the Oilers win. I will stick with that pick. I'm expecting a big response from those guys. I was looking at the last team to overcome a 2-1 deficit in the Stanley Cup final and then, go on and win the Cup. It was the 2019 Blues over the Bruins.
Right.
The last team...
Could it happen to Brad Marchand twice?
Hold on. Get in there. Last team to start the Cup Final Series at home and go down 2-1, 2013 Blackhawks. They started off at home, were down 2-1, and they beat the Bruins.
Okay.
Common denominator.
Look at this.
Brad Marchand.
Oh, my gosh.
Where does he play now, and what is the series? So let's see if they could tie it up 2-2. Florida hasn't been the best team at home. They've been great on the road. So
Florida has been ridiculous on the road.
Yeah, and Sam Bennett, what does he have, like 2 goals at home and
everything
117 on the road?
I have heard rumors that Sam Bennett's contract's already signed.
I've heard the same.
So, and I don't think he's ever going to leave Florida.
I wouldn't be like, why would you go?
Right.
I mean, just being.
No, I'm with you.
Just being him. I'm not saying any player. Just being him. You're in a great situation, income tax free. You're gonna get a pay bump. Why leave that?
Yeah.
Everyone who leaves that, they don't have the same impact that they do going to the next team. And then there's unreal expectations. Let's say he gets $8 million in Florida, and then he decides to go to Toronto. They'll pay him $12.
Right.
Everyone's going to get on his back when he doesn't hit 50 points, so he only hit 50 points once in his career.
That's why it's for him. It's more glaring. I've said this for I don't know how many years. Athletes never consider the impact on their performance by their surroundings.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be teammates. It can be where you live, the life that you have.
Yep.
Everything around you matters, and it contributes to who you are as a player. And then when you change those dynamics, what happens? In the case of Bennett, he came to Florida, he was not a great player. He was a good player.
He was drafted 4th overall, expecting way more, yeah.
And never really reached that in Calgary,
No.
was buried on a 4th line.
Yep.
Wasn't even playing that much. Was playing about 10 minutes a game.
Until the playoffs hit.
Right. Well, yes, but then he gets traded to Florida.
Yeah.
And that was the year. I think it was 21. It was the crazy pandemic year.
Somewhere around it, yeah.
I think it was that. It might have been the year before. I don't remember. And Bennett still has not been, during the regular season, a big performer.
Sure.
But, man, his numbers in playoff hockey are almost a point a game.
It's ridiculous. And just across the ice, RNH, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, not the best regular season guy. He had 100-point season. He was a first overall pick.
Yes.
In the 2011 draft.
The Oilers, how did the Oilers get that many first overall picks?
Well, they were terrible.
Still.
I mean, they went 2010, they had Hall. 2011, they had R&H. 2012, they failed for Nail, and, they failed with Nail. And then 2015, McDavid, ship turned around.
It's amazing.
Getting first overall picks doesn't guarantee you, everything. You have to have the right guys, the right mix.
It gives you the opportunity to get those guys.
Well, they didn't get it until McDavid, really. But anyway, R&H.
Hall's a good player. Don't like to be ripping Taylor Hall.
R&H, consistent 50, 60-point guy, had the one anomaly 100-point season, but he is great in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a good
similar
player.
to Bennett, not same type of player, not physical force, but he is great in the playoffs. Western Conference final, he was nearly 2 points a game every game.
He was dynamite.
Yeah.
He was dynamite.
He hasn't done much in this series, but maybe he'll get going this
They
one.
keep playing against Florida. That's the problem. The Oilers play the Panthers.
Quickly, a little trivia question.
All right, let's see if I can get it.
Do you know who leads the Panthers in points over the past 2 Stanley Cup finals?
Leads the Panthers in
Strictly
points.
Stanley Cup final, so against the Oilers, 2024 and 2025 combined.
Anton Lundell.
I like how you were going like
Thank you.
unheralded and not
Yeah.
going like Kachuk, Barkov. Evan Rodriguez, 11 points in 10 games. No other player on the Panthers have double-digit points. Carter Verhaeghe's right there knocking on the door, 9 points, could, get there now. But Erod, points in 9 of 10 Stanley Cup final games.
Buffalo Sabres alumni.
There you go.
We bring it back to the Buffalo
There you
Sabres.
go.
Beautiful. That is Ben Seltzer. We run the numbers. I appreciate your time. We'll do it again soon.
Sure.
All right. When we come back, betting, wagering, and stretching. Next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. The NBA Finals are underway, and FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props. And now you can do everything right within the app with new performance trends, especially if it's after tip-off, because FanDuel is the place for live betting of the NBA Finals. New customers, $200 in bonus bets to you if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower health care costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family Physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Pole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Healthcare?
Waiting
Why is it
the
so
worst.
hard?
Healthcare is broken. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it. Really? Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you. Really? Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced? No, but it's a start. We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry, I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. McElroy finished 4 over. DeChambeau finished 3 over. Not great, right? Obviously. But I will just make this one statement. 4 over par, 3 over par, I don't think is going to be far off the winning score. So, players who are a few over par, if you can convince yourself, remind yourself that, man, right around even, that could be a winner. Settle down. You don't have to do anything spectacular. 1 under par, second round, I'll bet you're pretty close to the lead. Just got to convince yourself that it's not a normal event. Everybody that I have listened to this week thought that over par would win this U.S. Open. And it may still. As long as they don't get rain, there is rain scheduled for the weekend, but conditions always get tougher on the weekend anyway as the pressure goes up. I think we're going to be looking at something just under par that has the lead going to the weekend. Just stay patient. My advice. Rory, I hope you're listening. Stay patient. Shall we stretch?
I'm sure he is listening. Duh.
Yeah.
He's probably streaming us on his phone, actually.
Might be.
Yeah.
Might be.
And if he is, he might appreciate this new TikTok hack, because don't we all? I love to talk about what's going on with TikTok. So the latest trend is actually a little interesting. It's about leaving a wooden spoon in your bedroom.
Excuse you?
I know, it's a little weird. But there's a website called Apartment Therapy that shared this might be a good strategy to help when making your bed. You may be wondering, what are you talking about? So this is for people who don't have enough arm strength, or they're worried about hurting their back when they want to put a new sheet on when you wash them and you're trying to put the fitted sheet on, which is a torture.
Can
basically.
you fold the fitted sheet?
I don't. I wash it. It goes in the dryer immediately to the mattress.
Right.
I do not. And if I have to, I attempt to fold, if I have extras or something. But yeah, that's just.
It's impossible.
Who cares? And who cares?
My wife can do that. Aileen can fold a fitted sheet. It's annoying.
Did she find it on TikTok how to do it?
I have no idea. But it is freaking annoying.
It's a skill. It's a skill that she's got.
I think you're a witch if you can fold a fitted sheet.
It might be witchcraft. I don't know. I know I can't. And then I just end up balling it up and thinking, who cares? Because I don't. So this is saying that supposedly, I don't know if this would work, you're supposed to take the wooden spoon and kind of help take the corner underneath the mattress. So, some people can't reach under. I think this sounds like it's going to hurt something. Like you're going to poke yourself in the arm with this. I don't know, but they say that this works. So if you need a new trick when you're changing out your sheets on your bed, maybe take a wooden spoon to the bedroom.
Take your word for it.
Yeah. But we do have good advice when it comes to placing bets.
Place your bets, Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
I gave you an anytime home run hitter yesterday.
Yeah.
Juan Soto.
Yeah.
I said we've reached the Juan Soto portion of the season.
Right.
He's back.
Yeah.
So I might give it to you again, even though the Mets are already underway.
Well, maybe. First up, I'm going to start all hockey. He's worked for me before, so tonight let's try it again. Leon Draisaitl, anytime goal scorer, because he needs to show up today, plus 115.
All right, let's. We're going to start with. I'll also start with hockey. Well, actually, no. We'll since I already have it up.
Yeah.
Juan Soto will hit another home run today. Plus 500.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Plus 500.
The Mets are already leading 3-0. I don't know what inning they're in. It's probably second inning or so. The game was like about a 1:15 first pitch, so third inning maybe.
Oh, wow.
Juan Soto will hit another home run today.
Well, there you go. I also, this has been helpful for me, in the first period of the game, a goal in the first 5 minutes. It seemed to come through because the last time it happened in a minute. So that's plus
within a
160.
Minute, right. You should have done, is there a bet for the first minute?
Nope, but if there would be, that would be a winner.
It was Brad Marchand, too. All right, I'm going to give you an anytime goal scorer. Our guy Ben came in with the Evan Rodriguez numbers, plus 390.
Wow.
Erod.
Plus 390?
Yeah, plus 390.
That's ridiculous. And last but not least, just because I feel like they need to stay in this, Edmonton Oilers to win. They're underdogs, plus 125.
They are underdogs. Florida wins. Florida wins by more than a goal. It goes over 6.5, plus 375.
Definitely like the over.
Yeah, it goes over. I think if Edmonton wins, it goes under. All right, but I think Florida wins, and it goes over. Edmonton will score tonight, but I think the Panthers win this game 5-2, 5-3, ultimately. And I think I just get a feeling we're done in this series. Florida is that good.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Timing is everything, but should it be? Now, maybe it's great when you meet your significant other. You just happen to be passing each other on opposite sides of the street, and your eyes meet, and boom, fireworks. But it shouldn't be that way with a mortgage. So let's say you want to buy a house right now and you don't like the rate. Don't worry about it. The rate will come down, so you go to Miller Lending, home of the original no closing cost mortgage, and you save thousands of dollars by not paying closing costs. Then when the rates come down, you lower your monthly payment free of charge. Now you're paying the same rate, or maybe even less, and you have never paid closing costs, just like me. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. MillerLending.com online. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Gift yourself an icon, the Omega Speedmaster, known as the Moonwatch. This legendary timepiece made history as the only watch selected by NASA to withstand the extreme environment of space and was worn by astronauts on the first journey to the moon. With its timeless design and unmatched durability, the Omega Speedmaster continues to inspire adventure seekers worldwide. Find your perfect Speedmaster at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted best place to buy a watch. Learn more at baileybox.com.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Gardner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I think he's played well in the sense that he's set up some really big goals. You know, he's made some amazing passes to his line mate Leon Draisaitl, and then Draisaitl is the one to score the goal. So it's not as if he hasn't made an imprint on the series. But when you talk about legacy, when you talk about moments, when you talk about being the MVP of this league, Game 4 is where you have your moment. Game 4 is where you make the difference. Game 4 is where we come away from that game thinking they were at maybe the lowest point of their playoff run, and their captain, their star player, the guy searching for the ring, lifted them back up to put them back in the series. Game 4 needs to be a McDavid game for them to get back in this thing.
Sounded like the one and only Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We have Stanley Cup Finals Game 4 tonight. I saw some numbers, and this speaks more to what Greg Wyshynski was just talking about in terms of Connor McDavid. Think about this. 10 years in the league for McDavid. Right, he was drafted in 15. He had one of those years he lost a good chunk of it to an ACL tear. He's got over 1,000 points in 10 NHL seasons, which pretty good. And again, remember, he missed almost all of one season with a torn ACL. Do you know how many points Wayne Gretzky had in his first 10 seasons in the NHL?
How many?
Over 1,800 points.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah. In fact, in Gretzky's best 5 seasons, he had almost as many points as McDavid has in his first 10. And I'm not talking about cherry-picking Gretzky's best 5 seasons. I'm talking about a 5-year span which encompassed Gretzky's best 5 seasons. Starting with the 81-82 season, in which Gretzky had 212 points, 92 goals.
Wow. One person.
92 goals
Oh,
and 212 points in the 81-82 season. Ending with the 85-86 season, Gretzky, in that 5-year span, 4 of those seasons, by the way, he went over 200 points.
Wow.
He had 1,036 points in 5 years. He had 375 goals in 5 years.
Superhuman hockey.
Totally different era. I know there are people sitting around there going, well, the goalies didn't have pads. You're right. It was a different era.
And he definitely had enforcers to help him.
Well, he did. Marty McSorley was there. But if it's so funny.
Crazy.
Goaltenders, if you look at Grant Fuhr, who I believe is in the Hockey Hall of Fame, Grant Fuhr it was a goalie, did not have a ton of seasons in which his goals against average was better than 3. Okay? Now, if your goals against average is 3, you're probably not an NHL goalie. Maybe you're a backup, but you're probably in the minor leagues or playing in Europe. If you can't come up with a goals against average that is lower than 3. So the game is drastically different today than it was then. But I am here to remind you that doesn't mean that 200 points a year isn't stupid.
Yes.
We just had a season in which Alexander Ovechkin became the all-time leading goal scorer in the National Hockey League. Nobody is taking that away from him. He is, in total, the greatest goal scorer of all time. Looking at these numbers, I have more respect for how magnanimous Gretzky has been throughout all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because those numbers that he posted, 92 goals, 71 goals, 87, 73. God, he sucked in 85-86. He only scored 52.
What are you doing? That's a sleepy year.
Was he hurt?
Yeah.
He missed a few games. Actually, he played 79. I think they played 80 games back then. Dumb. This whole thing, like, looking at it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just a cartoon.
He's always going to be the GOAT.
I know there are people in Pittsburgh that insist it's Mario Lemieux. I'm not even going to argue. Lemieux was incredible player. Incredible player. Saved the franchise, ultimately.
Right.
When he came back. And, yeah, so, man, what a player. And he had to overcome cancer to do it.
Yeah.
But Gretzky?
Yeah.
Again, I knew the numbers were crazy, and then I looked at it and went, you have got to be kidding.
Crazier than I thought.
You have got to be joking. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up quickly. Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, honestly, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. 92 goals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is great trivia.
Against pros.
No one would ever guess it.
Against professional hockey players.
Mm-hmm.
92 goals. You got to be joking. It wasn't even his best points here. 215 in 85-86 and 163 assists. 2 assists a game.
Wow. Wonder if he just felt like playing a game with one hand behind his back the whole time.
I mean, it's just dumb. He was a plus 100 plus-minus rating in 84-85.
Oh.
Plus 100.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
just stop it. Just stop it. All right, I got to stop. I got to stop looking at those numbers because I'll just lose I'll lose the rest of it. All right. So last night the Indiana Pacers took a 2-1 lead in the best of 7 East NBA's conference finals. I don't know why I was talking about East. And it really was about Benedict Mathurin. Wait, who? Yeah. So one of the valuable pieces off the bench for Rick Carlisle's team. But you never know what you're going to get. He is the box of chocolates. First of all, you don't even know if he's going to play. He's got playoff games here where he played literally off the bench. 0 minutes, 1 minute, 4 minutes. It wasn't like last night he played 40, but he scored 27 points off the bench. And it was just one of those things that enabled the Pacers to win. Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault on Mathurin and the other guys on the Indiana bench.
You know, he's had games like this in previous series. He seems to have a game like this in every series, and talented player. He was really aggressive tonight. He did a great job. McConnell did a great job. You know, their bench really came in the game and was excellent. You know, I thought that had a lot to do with the second quarter. The start they got off to, I think, was like 15-4, and then the start of the fourth quarter as well. And I thought those guys were catalysts to that. So you tip your hat to them. You know, those guys played really well. They outplayed us. The team outplayed us tonight. We got to learn from it and then, you know, try to go be a better team in Game 4.
What did you learn exactly? Never mind. Also, he mentioned T.J. O'Connell. I don't know what the context is, but apparently it's rare, and I understand why it would be, for a player to come off the bench and have both 5 assists and 5 steals. So, obviously an impact player as well. Indiana's bench outscored Oklahoma City's by about 30 points in the game. That'll do a lot. Tyrese Halliburton, the star of the Pacers, on his teammate, that Mathurin guy.
Yeah, I thought he just did a great job of just playing within what we do so well. What Ben does at such a high level is get to the free throw line. And in this series, we need to get free throws. We need to get to the paint. And I thought Ben did a great job of that. Our bigs were great, Miles and Obi and Pascal, of setting solid screens to allow us to really get in the pocket and make reads. And I thought he was unbelievable and just so proud of the way that he responded. Huge minutes for us. And it's a guy that we missed heavily last year in our run. And we can consistently talked about it, you know, all year, how important it's going to be, you know, for him to be a part of this playoff run, and you're seeing why that is. So he was a huge reason, you know, for our victory tonight.
All right, so going into the game, I said this yesterday, I thought it was pretty clear to me that Oklahoma City was the better team. Didn't necessarily mean that they would win last night or even win the series, but based on what I watched in games 1 and game 2, and I know Indiana won game 1, still thought Oklahoma City was more careless about game 1, and then they showed you what they were about in game 2. And I thought we would see more of that yesterday. And not that Oklahoma City didn't play well, not that they did a lot of things well. And that game was, I believe, tied with about 5 minutes to go. Yeah, Indiana's no joke. They have the better second best player on the team, if Halliburton is the first, Pascal Siakam. And I don't know if right now Oklahoma City has a better player than either Halliburton or Siakam that isn't named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Their number 2 isn't as good as Indiana's number 2, and maybe the top guys cancel each other out. We will talk with our guy Brenden Whitted about that and more. Also, is Kevin Durant going to get traded again? Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's Men's Health Month, And WakeMed wants to remind you to exercise. Be physically active for at least 3 hours per week. That's about 30 minutes of exercise per day. And exercise doesn't have to be boring. Walking the dog, playing basketball, riding your bike, or even an impromptu dance party count as physical activity. Oh, and don't forget to include stretching and strength training. Get up, get moving, and while you're at it, schedule a WakeMed primary care appointment at wakemed.org to get started on your journey to a happier and healthier version of you.
This weekend is Father's Day, and there's plenty of time to plan a ride with Pops before hitting up the grill. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and if the weather cooperates this weekend, that'd be a fun memory to have with your dad, taking the motorcycle out for a ride and then relaxing with some summertime cuisine. But like I mentioned, weather is always a factor when riding, and it's important to be prepared. Just like it's important to remember that if you're ever in an accident that wasn't your fault on your motorcycle, make sure to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. My friends at Law Tigers are riders too, so they understand it. They get it. They know the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you've made, and what it's like to go through an accident on your bike. The insurance company just wants to pay you the least amount possible. So at Law Tigers, case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here again from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Today we are at Millbrook High School, where we introduce the next Scholar Athlete of the Month, Brianna McMillan.
Day in and day out, just her presence, her energy, her motivation showed her teammates how to follow her. And they nominated her to be captain, and I think that speaks volumes to her as a leader.
She is like one of the leaders on the team, and anytime I see her play, it truly shows in her work and like her athleticism.
She is very uplifting, and she just makes sure if you're ever having a bad day to make your spirit better.
It's unimaginable. I really didn't think I was going to, be one of the 8, which is a huge honor, and I'm really grateful. And I hope I can live up to the honor, and I'm really appreciative for all the people who've nominated me and selected me. It's great. It's a great feeling. As an athlete, it's, you go through mental hurdles, and you got to get out of it. But, my family has definitely helped me, supported me to get out of the mental ruts that I've gone through and, made me become a better athlete on and off the field. So I appreciate them.
Congratulations, Brianna.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21. This is Adam Gold.
He doesn't have many years to choose from.
No, and part of that was COVID. Nobody's picking COVID.
COVID was a great year.
Yeah.
Look, if you invested in Zoom,
oh, that was a good year. Yes.
You had a good year during COVID.
Yep.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the 1s and 2s. NBA Finals Game 3 last night went to the Indiana Pacers. They now lead 2-1. And what I thought after Game 2 might not be true. It might not be obvious that Oklahoma City is the better team. Simply because last night, Indiana looked like the better team. They won game one, much like they did against the Knicks, not by looking like the better team, but by just believing that they would figure it out. And they did. Game two, cruise control for the Thunder. Last night, that was the Indiana Pacers. I wonder what my friend Brenden Whitted, one of our basketball brains, would think about it. So, how have you been processing where we are in this series 2-1 Indiana?
I came into this thing much like you, thinking that the Thunder were just slightly better than Indiana. And I picked OKC to win this 6. Technically, that's still on the board. That's still on the table. I didn't know how much better Indiana would be at some of the smaller things. Closing time, right? They've outscored the Pacers by 25 points over the course of this series in the fourth quarter. And I just didn't think that they would be that much. And that's what happened in game two as well. Like,
yeah,
I just didn't think that they'd be that much better in crunch time. That was 103 to 100 last night. And then they just walked away from it, right? And as always, whenever I look at crunch time stuff, I got to look at the stars, and SGA, 3 points in that fourth quarter.
Yep.
So I don't know if they need to change up because they mentioned he usually sits for a large period of time in the third, and then he'll come back sometime during the fourth. They brought him in a minute earlier. I don't know if you need to have him starting at the beginning of the fourth. I don't know what it is. But you are not going to win a championship if you can't win fourth quarters. And if I had told you walking into last night that OKC would have 3 guys go for 20 or more points, they'd out-rebound the Pacers, they would outshoot them from 3, they would make more free throws, I think both of us would have thought, yeah, they're going to pretty handily win this game. But the turnovers absolutely killed them. 21 points. They gave up 21 points off of their 19 turnovers. And that bench, man. Like, Mathurin, goodness gracious. That's the deadliest part about this Indiana team. Everybody knows about Halliburton. You know about Siakam. But it really can be different guys on different nights. I think this is their 3rd or 4th different leading scorer during this playoff run. Like, it comes from everywhere. And it's not always where you expect it to come from. They outscored the bench, OKC's bench, 49-18, I think. Like, that's just preposterous stuff. And obviously, Mathurin had a big game, 27 points. But TJ McConnell was huge for them, particularly at the top of that third quarter. He's in the backcourt getting steals. He had 5 assists to go along with his 10 points. Like, he's the perfect guy to run that second unit because he is still all gas, no breaks. He is still putting a ton of pressure on OKC's defense. Like, no, you better get back even when it's in half court. That is a really well congealed team. And everybody knows their role. It's very clear. OKC's guys just do better late in games.
They do. Well, Indiana has been. I thought Indiana last night was super impressive because Oklahoma City was only down a point with 5 minutes to go. It was 101-100 with 5 minutes to go, and I think you said it. Indiana just put their foot on the gas and just ran away, and I do wonder how much confidence makes you better than you are. Yeah. When you have come back as many times as this team has come back and you have played as well in the fourth quarter as you have played, I just think that makes you better. How does Oklahoma City counter that?
I mean, a good way to do it is just not have the game be up for grabs that late, right?
Blow
like,
them
I mean,
out.
I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, and I'll admit to that. But we didn't see this in game 2, right? We didn't have to worry about it in game 2 because they'd already, for the most part, you can never really say the Pacers are done. But for the most part, they had put that game away, right? Okay, see, you mentioned Indiana having so much confidence. I think the opposite is true as well. If you're OKC, you start looking up. Fourth quarter. Games getting kind of close. You haven't had a ton of close games this season, by the way, right? Like, we talk about youth and vitality and all that stuff with OKC. That's true, but they had one of the best net ratings in history. And so, they weren't – a lot of these late games weren't going down to nail biters. And maybe some of that has gotten into it as well with Indiana, just not with Oklahoma City, maybe just not being as comfortable in those situations as the Pacers are, who, by the way, haven't lost back-to-back games since March. They've been on some kill like the last since the calendar turned to 2025. They have been on a tear, and this is a completely different team than what was going on earlier in the season.
Brenden Whitted is a Renaissance man. We'll talk about why I just said that in a little bit. Yeah, look, I think Indiana's their depth, and I've been talking about depth as it pertains to the Stanley Cup Finals, but Indiana's depth, because I just don't think you know what, one game to the next where it's going to come from. Like, no joke. I knew who Benedict Mathurin was, but there have been games in this postseason where he has barely played, let alone put up 27. How do you go from a 0 in the minutes or 1 in minutes to scoring 27? How does that happen?
He's kind of, for people that are unfamiliar with his game, this is who he is, though, right? Like he got hurt towards the tail end of regular season last year, and so it's unfortunate he wasn't able to be a part of that Eastern Conference Finals run. They really missed him, but he's kind of like a Lou Will, Jamal Crawford, if you want to go back old school, microwave for the bad boy Pistons. Like, that's what he is. They bring him off the court. They bring him on the court like, hey, just go get buckets. And then he and TJ McConnell have a really good chemistry with one another. One of the things that really impressed me in Game 3, even more so than in Game 1. Game 1, they came out flat. I thought the Pacers had gotten too much into one-on-one basketball. That was a better offense and a more accurate to what we have seen through the regular season for the Pacers. They were moving without the ball. They were the number of times I saw, whether it was Halliburton or McConnell, dive and get into the paint and then have a cutter that will just go to the top of the goal and just like, hey, I'm just here. And OKC can be so aggressive with their defense that they can kind of play themselves out of position because they're always going to go for the block. They're going to go for those steals. And there are times when if you just stay at home and you're not so concerned about what's happening with the ball, because there are times when their players would just go running, screaming towards the front of the goal, and OKC was just reacting off of that as opposed to ball you man, always knowing what's going on. OKC kind of lost track of that. They have to be better defensively. I thought they played pretty well offensively. Like, outside of the turnovers, I thought they played pretty well on that side of the ball, but they have to be better. They got here by being phenomenal defensively, historically great defensively. That's not the team that I saw last night.
Look, I know some of the players they have been counting on didn't really play well. By the way, basically all of, as you alluded to at the beginning, most of Oklahoma City's points came from really 4 starters. Yeah. They need more from guys coming off the bench, but they also don't need Chet Holmgren getting owned in the fourth quarter like he got owned. I do think that Pascal Siakam means a ton to Indiana because he is one of the few players that's got some championship pedigree under his belt. And I do think that Siakam is one of the most underrated players in the sport. Let me ask.
Reminds me a lot of Pippen. There's a lot of Pippen in his game with just his ability just to do multiple things and be great defensively. Like, yeah, you weren't going to win title with Pippen as your number one, as Toronto found out once Kawhi left. But you can as your number 2, Siakam is that kind of a player, and he led the team in scoring in Game 1. Like he's everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. Anything you need at any given time, he'll help you out.
All right. So, what are your thoughts on the rest of this series? Whether we picked Oklahoma City to win or not, I think Indiana might just be a Game 6 NBA champion here.
I have a hard time believing that OKC is not going to get back into this thing. Even Game 3 felt really weird. It felt like they were like always trying to just trying to hang around and stay around in that game. Never felt like they were going to put the pedal down and try to win that game. It felt a lot more like they were trying not to lose, particularly once they got up by 8. It kind of felt like, okay, well, we're here. We got to keep this. We got to keep this lead. They led most of this series. I just, I don't know who it's going to be because I didn't think any of their stars played poorly last night.
Right.
But you're going to need more from SGA in the clutch. If you're going to get back in these clutch situations, your best player has to be better. And he kind of was just nowhere to be found. He had to travel. He missed a free throw. He just just didn't have it going outside of a jumper, didn't make one field goal. He has to be better in those situations. It's takeover time. If you're the MVP, which he absolutely earned, and I know that's a regular season award, but your guys are going to look to you in order to carry them as they've looked toward when Halliburton, even when he wasn't having a good game, everybody knew Halliburton was going to get that last shot. So, like, there has to be a little bit more ownership from him. And I hate to put all of it on him because it's not like he's played poorly. I think he's probably played the best of anybody in this series. But I wonder, once you get past number one, I think he's the best player in this series. How far do you go until you get to another member of the Thunder? I don't know, right? I genuinely don't know. That's an honest question.
I think you're 100% right. And it's funny, we judge Halliburton like we do every other NBA player of his ilk. We judge them by what their offensive output is, scoring, assists, things like that. And I don't think Halliburton should be judged that way. He just seems to be just a great player, not a superstar, until he is needed to be a superstar. And then he says, okay, I got it. Because he did that against the Knicks.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing it against the Thunder as well. Let me grab a couple of other things from you before we let you go. Brenden Whitted at HU Cosell on Twitter. Is Kevin Durant really going to get traded again?
I mean, it looked like
has he played for everybody yet?
He looked like he was out of there when the season ended. The reports coming out of the Suns were it's done. It's just not going to work. And then they've kind of walked that back a little bit. I want to see him somewhere else. The Suns thing seems terrible, and it's mostly that Bradley Beal contract. Like that's gonna be a tough one to move, and he's not going to just pick up and go anywhere, right? Like he's mentioned that his family really loves it there. Like I don't know, he's not going back to a team like the Wizards where they were terrible. Right, he's lived that life. He's not going back there.
Right,
and so KD, I look at the Spurs, who he's been rumored to be interested in. I look at the Rockets, who they've mutually kind of said they weren't interested in it. I just thought for the timeline of where he is and where they are, that would be perfect for them. I have a hard time believing KD is going out with I'm just going to stay with the Suns forever and ever because it doesn't look like it's about to get better anytime soon.
Yeah, it does speak to maybe we should stop trying to craft these air quotes super teams because honestly, they really don't work. The Heat certainly crafted one with LeBron and Chris Bosh coming in to join Dwayne Wade. But really they needed to add those ancillary pieces around them in order to get over the hump and win an NBA title. Boston certainly did the same thing. They had Paul Pierce. Then they went out and added Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. And did they already have Rajon Rondo? Or did they
already have Rondo?
Already had Rondo, who was, not necessarily the most important piece of that puzzle, but he was a pretty big piece of that puzzle.
He was the glue of that team.
And they only won once. But, Golden State was organically great before they added Kevin Durant. The other attempts at super teams have failed miserably.
And it feels like that time is gone. With a second apron, teams are really, really hesitant, more so than they have been in the past, because it's not going to be just a financial burden that you're taking on. You're also talking about losing draft picks and stuff like that. Like they
flexibility.
Were really,
roster flexibility you also lose. It's not even about the money. It's about you're not really allowed to make certain moves.
You can't do it. But it was crazy because we just see Mathurin and TJ McConnell. I think they're combined making like $17 million this year. And they just been those are the type of performance you're getting out of the finals. Like you have to build your teams more organically. I think you hit it right on the head. Like you have to draft well. You can't just outspend your poor decision making.
Right.
And that's what Phoenix tried to do. A lot of new ownership it is a trope now in basketball. You get a new owner and they want to make a splash. They want to make a big trade. They want to get a big name. And most of the time, you just need to really, really draft well and pick up the free agents that are going to work as a part of your team and as a part of your cap.
All right, I know you're a Charlotte Hornets fan. I've been asking everybody this question about the Hornets. who is, then they pick fourth. Obviously, you're not getting Cooper Flagg. Yeah. Let's just say you picked second. Who's the pick? And don't worry about value. Don't worry about value. Who is the best player other than Cooper Flagg for what they need?
I have real questions about Ace Bailey in terms of his shot diet. He can make a whole bunch of tough shots. I just don't like a guy who has to make tough shots. Like, I want you to make it look a little bit easier. He came in like a 6'7". I think people had him at like 6'9" or 6'10", had him listed there. Man, I like Canupo a lot. Like, I really, really do. Like, I know 2 would probably be higher than most people have him going. But the stuff he was able to do with Flagg sitting and his ability to create shots. Now, Edgecombe from Baylor, I think for Hornets in particular, they haven't had a legitimate shutdown sort of defender on the perimeter in a long time. And if you're going to play LaMelo Ball, who is nobody's idea of a really good defender, you need to put somebody beside him where you can hide him a little bit more. If they're going to do that, if they're going to go defense, I want Edgecombe, because I just believe he can grow into some. I watched the Thompson twins this year, and I'm just like, man, those incredible athletes that you can just sick on the opposition's best perimeter player are invaluable. And if you ever get him on a rookie deal, could be something special if he indeed grows into that kind of defender. And by all the metrics, he should be.
But whichever Thompson twin plays for, and I keep thinking music, whatever Thompson twins plays for the Pistons was awesome defensively until that one Jalen Brunson possession in the fourth quarter of that game. Look, I think the Pistons' ceiling is super high. I cannot wait to watch them coming up next year. I mentioned you're a Renaissance man. So over the weekend, what is Brenden Whitted at HU Cosell tweeting about? Tweeting about the French Open. I saw some U.S. men's national soccer. You were at the Nats game over the weekend. Appreciate you branching out, my man.
I love it, man. Sports, bro. Like, it's just the best. Like, it really is legitimately just the best. I wish I had something more articulate and could really hit you with something, but it's just super dope, man. Like, I went to the hockey joint, went to the F1 race in Miami.
You went to the F1 race in Miami?
I did. I went to the F1 race in Miami just because I was like, I had talked to my boy about it. It was his birthday. And it was kind of a last-second 24-hour trip, but I had a lot of fun just watching the qualifying, just learning more about another sport. I love learning about sports. Like, even though I've basketball, I've been able to cover basketball and football and stuff like that, but some of the soccer, hockey, some of those outlier sports for myself, super dope. I'm definitely gonna go to a Mystics game at some point because I think they play the Aces and Chicago Sky in the next week or so.
All right. Well, hopefully, everybody's healthy because we've had some injuries of late.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Brenden Whitted at HU Cosell on Twitter. We will talk men's national team next time.
Oh, I love it. Let's go.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get into when I kind of rankled Kane's Twitter yesterday, and I will explain why assets is not a negative when it comes to talking about players. Next.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, Adults with a family physician have lower health care costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted health care advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Bluebell Groom's Cake Ice Cream is renewing its vows on the frozen aisle. Milk chocolate ice cream with chocolate cake pieces, chocolate-coated strawberry hearts, swirls of strawberry sauce, and chocolate icing. See you at the reception.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Imagine a school where you could study AI and ancient Egypt, become a National Honor Student, join a cooking club, or code the next big video game, and do it all in a comfortable space. Your own home. Welcome to NC Cyber Academy, a K-12 tuition-free virtual charter school that provides you with a flexible, personalized education designed to prepare you for college and a career. Visit myncca.com and discover a learning experience that works for you, your family, and your future.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Because if interrupting is part of the talent, then she wins.
Giving an RBF face? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everybody saw it.
I didn't say it. I
that picture
did not say that.
When they were asking Bill and she interrupts him and they look at her, that's evil. I was waiting for the lights to come out of her pupils.
You're not wrong.
The Adam Gold Show.
We're about 60% into the first round of the U.S. Open. Apologies to the stations that time shift the show. It's over. For those of you just listening now,
it's done.
It's over.
Enjoy your dinner.
We're actually probably on to snacks at this point.
It is.
JJ Spawn, 4 under par. Thurston Lawrence. Nobody had a ticket on Thurston Lawrence. As 3 under, they are through with their opening round. Siwoo Kim also done. He is 2 under par. Brooks Koepka.
Wow.
Yes. 2 under par through 5. Sam Burns, 2 under par through 4. Bud Cauley. Who was it that yesterday? Was it Gary Williams who liked Bud Cauley yesterday? I think it was. 2 under par. Ben Griffin, 1 under, done for the day. The first 3 players at 2 under are all early in their opening rounds. Thomas Dietrich from Belgium, Belgium, not Belgium.
Or that one.
Yeah. Thomas Dietrich is 1 under, and I mentioned Ben Griffin. Yes, in terms of those guys who are finished, Colin Morikawa just early in his round is 1 under par. Terrell Hatton also 1 under par. I mentioned yesterday Cam Young, who you qualify for this. There are about, I think roughly it ends up being about 70 players exempt in some way, shape, or form, exempt into the field. Maybe a little bit more. The rest of the field qualifies, including a lot of top professionals. If you want to play in it and you don't meet any of the requirements for exemption, think like top 40 or top 50 in the world rankings, or depending on where you finished in the money list last year, all of these types of things will automatically get you in. But if you don't qualify that way, you can go qualify. There are 2 levels. Pros don't have to play the first level of qualifying, but that second level, the sectional qualifying, you'll go to one site and there will be like 120 players playing for 4 spots. Well, it turns out that in Columbus, Ohio, after they played the Memorial, Jack Nicklaus's tournament, which is basically in Columbus, Monday of that week, they had a 36-hole qualifier in which there were 6 spots available. Top 5 players there all qualified in, and then there were 5 players playing for 1 spot in a playoff. It included Max Homa. It included Ricky Fowler. And there were a ton of pros there because there were a lot of pros who played in that Memorial tournament. And Cam Young birdied the first playoff hole. So Cam Young is 1 under through 2. That's how he got into the field. JT Poston from Hickory, North Carolina, 1 under through 2 holes now. So it didn't go as well for players like Rory McIlroy. Yeah. 4 over. He started out. Rory was 2 under through 3, finished 4 over. Bryson DeChambeau at one point had it to 1 under on his first 9. He ended up finishing 3 over par as well. So this is a brutal, brutal golf course. Scotty Scheffler is even through 3.
And didn't Gary Williams and Jason Sobel yesterday, didn't they both basically kind of take him for the whole thing?
Scheffler?
Yeah.
Yes, everybody did.
Everybody does.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Scheffler will probably do no worse than 69 today. But anyway, worst score on the course today was Justin Hicks, who shot an 84. There's not a lot. Let's see. Somebody named Andrea Pavon is 7 over through 7. That doesn't seem good. Sam Bairstow is 6 over through 7. Also not very good. So maybe we'll threaten. No, it's Oakmont's tough. All right, before we rewind, and the rewind will be in some ways connected to what I'm going to talk about here. Yesterday, the American Hockey League, which is the highest level of minor league hockey in the United States, announced a team, if you will, of top prospects. There's a lot of players who play in the AHL who are simply, you're a good player at that level, not a good player at the NHL level, and you have big years and you become all-stars. But it is still a developmental league, so they released a team of top prospects. And that wasn't necessarily a team, they just announced a list of top prospects. 2 Hurricanes prospects are on that list. Scott Morrow, who we saw here, and Bradley Nadeau, who played 1 year of college hockey at Maine, had, I think, 47 points in 36 games or something like that. Big-time offensive talent, and scored more than 30 goals for the Chicago Wolves this past year. He is clearly a talented offensive player. And I saw that story and just quote tweeted it and sent it out. Assets. And that had Hurricanes fans mad. Because when I say that, they just assume that you're using them to get something else. In other words, I'm trading them. It doesn't matter whether or not I advocate that or not. It's looked at as a negative. And it should not be. When you say something is an asset, it has value.
It's a good thing.
Right? That's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
So, dirty little secret, it's not really a secret, should be known to everybody, is that it's not a great percentage of prospects that actually become bona fide NHL players. Like, to the level that you think they will be. It's a pretty low percentage of players that ever become what they are forecasted to become, because when we forecast these, we generally go, if everything works out, this is what they can be. And it's rare that everything works out. Sure, some players do have that. You know, we don't have to, and we could do this in every sport. So we don't have to go down a list and say this person is, this person isn't. We all know it. Bradley Nadeau was the 30th pick in the draft in 2023. So he played 1 year of college hockey. The Hurricanes drafted him out of juniors. He played 1 year of college hockey. He was great. And this past year, he played in the American Hockey League, and he was also great. Signs point to him being a really good player. I don't know about a 30-goal scorer, but signs point to him being a really good player. But if I told you that you could use him and Scott Morrow to get yourself a bona fide NHL great player, that's what you're supposed to do with prospects. You're supposed to use them to get better. Sometimes that means trading them. And sometimes it means keeping them. But whatever you have to do, if you have an asset, you should use it to make your team better. If the Hurricanes feel like trading Bradley Nadeau and Scott Morrow will make their team better, and I would say the same thing, even though nobody wants to do it, and I'm not saying they should, with Alexander Nikishin, if it'll make your team better. Like, if you could trade Alexander Nikishin and get Cale Makar, wouldn't you do it? I'm not saying that that's in any way feasible.
Right.
Right? You would do it.
Absolutely.
What are we doing?
Mm-hmm. So we could have the number one defenseman and the 70th
Right.
best defenseman.
I think Makar is right-handed. Anyway, my point is, it's not a negative when you say something is an asset. It's a positive. All right, let's rewind. All right, Cory Lavalette, Athletic, North State Journal. To that end, if you could do it and move them and turn it into something you could use, shouldn't you consider it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's been any doubt that the Hurricanes have interest in Mitch Marner. And if you look at where they are on the wing, you know, they've got Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis, Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, Logan Stankoven. So that's a whole lot of bodies, and then you add Bradley Nadeau to that. You know, Felix Unger-Sorum is probably a winger and not a center. We'll see what happens with that.
Right.
But you have more bodies for top nine roles than you have space. And if you're going to go and get an elite guy like that, you've got to push somebody out. Now, it's great to have a Jackson Blake on your fourth line, if that's, you know, how stacked your team is. But at the same time, if you can get better elsewhere by moving a Jackson Blake, a Bradley Nadeau, you know, I think it's a no-brainer to do it, and this team has done it over and over again. Look at Florida. You said we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup final, maybe. Look at Florida. I mean, Eetu Luostarinen was an asset the Hurricanes used to get Vincent Trocheck. You can argue maybe that wasn't, in hindsight, and maybe it wasn't a good move. I still think it was, but but I mean, assets. Nick Waugh was an asset that became Eric Haula. That became Vincent Trocheck. So you only have so much space on your NHL roster. It's okay to let guys marinate in the AHL for a bit, and that's still an option for a Bradley Nadeau. But if you can improve your team, improve your team. Jeez.
Yes. So Daily Faceoff, good hockey website, has a list of likely trade candidates. It doesn't go as far as say which teams are interested, which is fine, because those things are all just kind of spaghetti on the wall. Jason Robertson from Dallas is on there. Jason Robertson is a big body, 30-goal scorer. We don't need to know whether or not Jason Robertson will score 30 goals in the NHL because he's done it. If you could turn Nadeau, would it be Nadeau and Morrow? Probably not. But if you could turn Nadeau into Robertson, heck, maybe you don't even need Nadeau to do it. What are we doing? Just what are we talking about here? Also, I've seen Jackson Blake play. I think there's a lot more for him to do to get better, to get stronger, to become more consistent. And I saw this, people who loved Bradley Nadeau so much because he's got a great shot. And he scores a lot of goals. I don't know that Jackson Blake isn't a better all-around player. And that's the other thing we have to consider here. Is Bradley Nadeau ever going to play both ends of the ice as well as Jackson Blake can? Don't know which is ultimately going to be the better player. Maybe it will be Nadeau. But I've seen Blake against NHL players, and I know where there's room for him to improve. I'm really not sure that I would consider. I would be more apt to keep Blake and move Nadeau than the other way around. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I have seen this player. Real quick example, and then we'll close up shop today. For a time, and this is another sport, the New York Yankees never kept prospects. When they kept the prospect, it was Derek Jeter. It was Andy Pettitte. It was Mariano Rivera. It was Jorge Posada. But basically, every other prospect they had, they traded for established players. You know what was interesting about almost every single one of those prospects that the Yankees traded to get established stars? None of them ever panned out. The reason for that is that most prospects don't. There you go. Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi was a prospect. Victoria, thank you very much. See everybody tomorrow.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.